Okay, good. Breathing in better health. A little bit about what's in our air and some things we can do about it, a little bit about how we breathe and what we can do about that. So let's jump in. One of the most powerful health habits we already do every day is taking a breath. 20,000 plus times a day we breathe. We have a comparison of without food, we can survive weeks, without water, like days usually. But when we talk about air and oxygen, it's only minutes, right? And so one of the inputs that we put into our body every day at a pretty high rate is air and how we breathe. A lot of people just shrug it off, but the lungs and air and how we breathe is really important. So we breathe 20 to 25,000 times every day. So breathing in, breathing out 20,000 times a day. If you just sit back and think about that, that's a lot. And it's on auto drive, right? We don't really think about it most of the time that we are breathing. Every single breath is doing something remarkable, right? Breathing isn't just about oxygen, it's information, it's input into our body. It tells your brain whether you're safe, whether you're under threat, and it can change that state that we're in as well. And we'll talk about that. It can, but when we're breathing in, we're delivering oxygen, we're getting rid of carbon dioxide, we're getting rid of waste. It's signaling our nervous system, it's influencing our inflammation, it's creating some creating, or it can be a big deep for us as well. And it affects our energy production. Lungs, super important. 20,000 times a day, you guys. So our air, just like our food, isn't what it used to be. Most people think pollution only exists outside, but if you were talking about houses, they contain far more airborne irritants, a lot of dust, a lot of just crap in that dust than we realize. Small exposures, repeated every day. We talk about this with different toxins, right? So air is one of those things. Small things every day become a larger cumulative burden for us. So biological, we're talking about mold, dust mites, pet dander, things we're, excuse me, breathing in. Mold's a huge one. 1 in 2 houses, you guys has a mold issue. So it's a big one. Person to person can be different. The whole family could be having different symptomatology. So mold can be a big one for people. Chemical things, VOCs. So when we get new furniture, new flooring, they put off these VOCs, volatile organic compounds, and we breathe those things in. And they can last a lot longer than you guys think. So up to a year to 2 years, even from those things. So every time you get on and off those things, it's putting off those VOCs. Cleaning chemicals that we'll talk about too within different learning phases here. Laundry fragrances, any kind of fragrances, you guys, air fresheners, plugins, scented candles, what's making that scent, right? Even cooking smoke, poor ventilation. So just think about all of those things that happen inside of our house and how can we be proactive about this and pay attention to it and do something that is beneficial for our health when it comes to breathing in our air. We're not even talking about the outside stuff with chemicals and all that stuff. This is just inside, right? Your body keeps score. So think of it like a vehicle, like we were talking about last time. When something isn't working well, that check engine light pops on, right? Those lights aren't just the problem, it's giving you a warning signal. They're messages. The goal isn't silencing, putting out that light. It's trying to figure out why is that light on and how can we reduce that load? How can we help fix that problem, right? So congestion, sinus pressure, what's that telling us? When are we sick? Is it allergies? What are allergies? Irritants, headaches, brain fog. I started doing some nasal spray stuff in the office. It's been game changers for people on that sinus inflammation. But what is causing that sinus inflammation? A lot of times it's irritants in the air. So fatigue, poor sleep can be some breathing stuff, irritated eyes, allergies. That's a histamine response. What's causing that histamine response? Frequent illnesses. I see this a lot in my mold population, you guys. It's, are we getting sick often and just repetitive? Something suppressing that immune system. That's a warning light. So start thinking about these things a little bit differently and how we can actually do something about it. How can we reduce the load? So our bodies aren't dealing just with one stressor. It's usually cumulative. They're constantly processing food, stress, sleep, what's coming in the air, what we're putting in our mouth, that allostatic load. We're assessing what's coming in, and our liver, our kidneys, our detox systems, our lungs are all helping us with that cumulative load that we have. When your bucket gets too full, the symptoms, those dashboard lights start to come on. So one of the things that we can do to reduce that load, opening windows is the inside environment. It's opening those windows, getting some fresh air in. Huge. I know it's hot out right now, or it could be too cold at certain times of the season. So you're doing this as you can. If it's 2 degrees outside, you don't want to open your windows. That's very reasonable. Same thing if it's 100 degrees out, you probably don't want to open our windows. But try to get early mornings, evenings, that sort of thing, or midday if it's wintertime, trying to get that fresh air in and out. Air filters, air reactors, I love. We have both of them in our house. They're actively cleaning that air filtering. So air filters are pulling air through and filtering the air, kind of like an RO system. They're pulling air through that filter and then filtering the air. Air reactors are actively sending things into the environment to clean the air. So they're a little different in what they do. And we have both of them, like I said, in our house. We did notice a pretty huge difference in our kids. Just didn't get us sick as often because we had some mold stuff in our house. And once we had an air reactor, that really seemed to help. Air filters, we like to just have those running to filter the air. It catches a lot of dust, pet dander, all that stuff. So actively cleaning that indoor air, huge, huge. And then, like I said earlier, nasal sprays can be helpful, especially when traveling and you can't control that environment. When I travel, I try to take an air filter with me to get some of the smaller ones that you can travel with. It's super helpful when you travel. But when I can't take that, usually do a nasal spray just to help things moving along. So protect your air and try to reduce that low density. The next thing I'd like to just address is nose versus mouth, right? Your nose was designed to breathe air in, your mouth was designed to eat. So I tell my patients, this is your breathing tube, this is your eating tube. We don't want to really be breathing through our mouth, especially at rest, right? We don't want to be breathing through our mouth. We want to be breathing through our nose. Our nose filters particles as they're coming in. We have little hairs to trap pathogens and to filter the air coming in and to regulate the temperature of it coming in. That's what our nose is designed to do. Also, our nose produces nitric oxide. So that helps dilate our blood vessels. It's really, really important and supports immunity. That our nose does that, not our mouth. So if we're a mouth breather, we're losing the effects of that nitric oxide. Nose breathing or nasal breathing helps improve oxygen delivery to tissues. So breathing through our nose is super, super important. There are some things in some instances where you can't do that. You have a deviated symptom and breathing through your nose is just an impossibility. And usually I tell my patients, go get that fixed so you can breathe through it. We want to be able to breathe through our nose. If you like to read, there's a really good book called Breathe by, what's his name? James. I'll put it in the notes for you guys. But they did an experiment. They did a study where they totally blocked off their nose cavity for 2 weeks and just saw the ramifications. There's two guys that did this together. And then they reversed that and all they did was breathe through their nose and all of their effects diminished. But their blood pressure went up, like a lot of their cardiovascular markers went up just from blocking their nose and mouth breathing. So there's a lot of detriment to your body systemically when you're a mouth breather. If you have issues here, this is a big one to take care of. Sometimes tongue tie stuff, sometimes the proper tongue position, which we'll talk about, narrow palate, which you can change over time. There's a lot of things you can do to improve your airway. And there's now like airway specialists you can go and seek out as well. So your resting breath creates your structure. What you do most, your body will adapt to. If you breathe through your mouth, your body will adapt to that over time. This is true of your fascia in general. If we're sitting like this throughout the day, our body is going to adapt to that. And so we have to sit with a good posture so our body adapts to that. Our bodies are designed with an ideal resting posture. This is talking about breath, not just for our feet or spine, but for our mouth, right? And so we're going to go over that. This isn't just about forcing perfection, but it's being consistent over time. And so if you reprogram this into your body, it becomes normal and you don't have to think about it anymore. But when you're trying to change a habit like this, you have to consciously think of it and keep doing it with repetition, and then it'll become normal. So what is your resting position supposed to be? Your lips are gently closed, so you don't have to purse your lips or anything. Gently closed. Your tongue is at the roof of your mouth, right behind your teeth. If you say the N sound, where your tip of your tongue hits when you say N, that's where your tongue should sit, and then it should lay on the top of your palate. About 3/4 of your tongue should be there, and that should be your resting position of your tongue. Your teeth shouldn't be touching, just lightly apart. Jaw relaxed and quietly. That's important. Breathe through your nose. So if you're sitting there resting and just breathing, I shouldn't be hearing you if I'm sitting next to you. That should be quiet. So if you put a feather below your nose, they used to do this way, way back in the day with soldiers. I think it was the Chinese army, they used to put a feather under their nose, and if it moved, then they got in trouble, basically. But you should be able to breathe quietly without effort and force through your nose, 5 to 6 seconds in, 5 to 6 seconds out. So if you notice you're frequently mouth breathing, snoring, difficulty nasal breathing, start looking into it. This is information. Let's explore it. It's not a reason for guilt. It's just information, right? So we're trying to figure out Why is there a warning sign here? Why am I doing that? Sometimes, like I said, it's a tongue tie. Excuse me. Sometimes it's nasal stuff from mold or allergies or whatever that we need to clean up. We got to just investigate a little bit further. But this is your resting position that it should be for most people, if not all people, as long as we're not having that deviated septum. So why your tongue position matters. It's a postural muscle. Some people have a difficult time getting their tongue to the roof of the mouth, and that could be a tongue tie. So you might need to go get that snipped. Even into your adult life, they've shown that this can affect the cervical, your neck curvature. So that can play a role in your posture. When it rests consistently on the mouth, the body often compensates elsewhere, affecting structure. So when we have it in the proper position at the top of the mouth, we're supporting that jaw development. If you ever see a picture of mouth breathing versus nasal breathing, you can kind of Google just mouth breathing versus nasal breathing facial structure. And you'll see that the jaw goes backwards in a mouth breather. The jaw kind of goes backwards and looks a little funky, whereas in a nose breather, that jaw develops, right? And you get kind of like that more muscular look of a jaw, and that's all through breathing properly. What this also does is as we age too, especially from kids into growing, it gives us room in our teeth. Our palate widens and it gives our room for our teeth to come in properly. So less braces and all of that fun stuff. We get a stabilized airway. We promote nasal breathing, assist in healthy swallowing patterns. So we use our tongue a lot when we swallow as well. So try some of these things out with your tongue here. Like I said earlier, your body adapts to repetition every day, right? What we can do is have a narrow palate if we're a mouth breather so that the space for our teeth gets reduced. That's why our teeth come in crooked sometimes. Altered jaw development. Just Google that picture, like I said, especially impactful in children. Forward head posture. So that's when your head comes forward or your shoulders. That could be a postural thing. And reduced diaphragm movement. So whenever we have postural difficulties or postural deficiencies, a lot of times it affects our rib cage and how we breathe through our diaphragm as well. So it has more systemic effects than what we might think, but breath is shaping our structure. So it's very important just to learn how to breathe correctly. Okay, I kind of touched on this a little earlier. Breathing is not simply about getting more oxygen, it's creating signals. It's getting a balance between oxygen and carbon dioxide. A lot of people think carbon dioxide is bad, and it's about balance. It's not about too much or too little. But carbon dioxide gets a bad reputation, but healthy levels help release oxygen from hemoglobin into your tissues. So that helps regulate your tone of your blood vessels. It helps calm the system and efficient breathing. Sometimes when people start doing different breathing techniques, I'll tell them, check in with your body and start to notice, hey, I'm starting to get like air hunger almost, that starving for air. And I'm like, that's probably you're regulating carbon dioxide. And so just take a couple extra breaths, but what you're doing is working. Your breathing technique is working, right? So over breathing faster, which is what most people do. We have too many breaths per minute because we're stuck in that fight or flight too often. And so we breathe faster instead of breathing normally. That can reduce carbon dioxide, contributing to some other symptomatology. So the goal isn't more breathing. The goal is more efficient breathing or better breathing, right? So slower, quieter, primarily through our nose. So we don't want to breathe too much. So overbreathing is more like we could do breathing techniques where we do some deeper breaths in, but it shouldn't be like a normal thing. Normal breath rates around like 12-ish per minute. And so 5 to 6 seconds in, 5 to 6 seconds out. So just think about that. That's like a normal breathing pattern. Our breath is the fastest way to our nervous system, the bridge between your body and your brain. So if we're stuck in fight or flight, the fastest way to get you out of fight or flight, your breath. The nervous system is the link between stress and calm, reaction and response. It's one tool you can carry with you. I always tell my patients too, it's always free. So it's one of those tools that we give you where you don't have to buy one of those things or buy anything else, right? It's free. You take this with you. Fast, shallow breathing. So are you stuck in fight or flight? That's my first question. Usually something not safe. Even stress can do this. Mental stress can do this, right? Increased heart rate, release stress hormones, which is cortisol. Our muscles tense up. Our digestion gets slowed down. Our recovery goes down. So when we're out of that fight or flight state, we get into more slower breath rate, which slows our heart rate down and activates our diaphragm. We get that relaxed feeling, and then that supports our healing phases. So we can't always control stress, but we can help our bodies get out of that stressed state with our breathing. The more you practice this, the better you get at it. Let's practice together. Let's do a minute of this. What I want you to do is just get in a comfortable position, either sitting or laying down. But if you're sitting, I want you to have good posture sitting. I don't want you to be slunched over. So get in a good posture with me and let's practice some breathing. Try to get that tongue in the proper position. Say the N word or na, and where your tongue hits, lay the rest of it on the top of your mouth. And then we're just going to try to breathe for 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out. Let's go ahead and just close your eyes, get your body in a relaxed feeling. We don't want to force these breaths, just quiet, relaxed breathing. So let's do this for a minute here. We'll start to time it. So let's go ahead and inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And inhale again 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And just take a couple breaths in and out. Check back in with your body. That was approximately a minute of just breathing in and out. And just see what changed, right? Did your shoulders drop? Sometimes my jaw relaxed. Sometimes my mind just quieted. Sometimes you feel your heart rate slow down, or sometimes I feel just kind of my body relax, right? What changed for you? And that's just breathing normal. That's coherence breathing. So same in and same out. Some other breathing techniques that are really useful: box breathing, which is 4 seconds in, 4-second hold, 4-second out, 4-second hold. So it's kind of like a box, right? And then 4-7-8 breathing, which is 4 seconds in, 7-second hold, 8 seconds out. That one's good. End of the day, set a timer for 5 minutes before you sleep. That one's really good. Breath of fire is like a wake you up breath. You can kind of Google around on some of these. Physiological sigh, I love. I teach my patients this a lot. It's a breathing technique to get you out of fight or flight. And what you do is you inhale through your nose all the way to the top as much as you can go, and then another sharp inhale up, and then out with a sigh. And that one's really good. Crocodile pose is where you lay on your tummy and you're just trying to breathe normally, and that's helping strengthen that diaphragm up. So a little bit of tension with it. Buzz breathing is a technique that just helps increase nitric oxide. So a lot of different techniques you can do and explore out here, and just try them out, but see what happens and just notice the change. A lot of times I'll have people breathe in the office and I'll get them out of that fight or flight, and I can see their body relax. I'm like, hey, how do you feel? And they're like, oh yeah, I can feel more relaxed and I'm less anxious. And yeah, this is something you can do at your house. We don't have to walk you through this. This is something you own and you can do every day. So own it and practice it. It's really good for you. So improving your air, improve your health. Small improvements can add up over time. We're taking away that, reducing the load. This week, let's choose one. If you have pluggable air fresheners, those things are just chemicals, right? What's that scent that's coming in there? Sometimes you can use an essential oil or a diffuser if you'd like some fresher smells. That's a little bit healthier for you. Open windows regularly, beginning of the day, end of the day type of thing right now, because it's hot outside. In the wintertime, maybe midday, or if it's warmest, you can kind of do that. If it's really cold or really hot, like I said, just use your discretion. And then replace your HVAC filters. If I just told you that and you're like, oh my God, I don't know when last time I replaced that is, it should be monthly. Try doing that. Consider a high quality HEPA air purifier for higher traffic rooms. We have them in just about every room in our house. We have ones for the bedrooms and one for the main room. When I'm not at home, I usually crank those things up higher. And then as we're sleeping, it's usually on a lower setting, so it's just not super loud. So do what you can. HEPA filters are great, or there are some other filters that we really like too. Address water leaks quickly. Moisture leads to mold. 1 in 2 houses, like I said. Act fast to prevent buildup. Have plans if something spills, you can clean it up, put a fan on it so it's drying it out. Try not to get stuff below that flooring because that'll cause some mold too. If you have any previous water leaks, do some inspections, get that taken care of. Progress over perfection. So pick an area where we need to focus on, and let's focus on it. Plants is another great way to purify your air too. Just be sure that you take care of them properly because they can be moldy. So there are certain plants, I know spider plants one, English ivy, that really help clean the air and cleanse the air. Awesome, but just take care of them. All right, the challenge this week: choose one small habit that you guys can try together as a family. Remove one fragrance product. Talk about why you do it. Replace with a diffuser. some safe essential oils for diffusing and ones that you're safe to breathe in. Open a window for 10-15 minutes. Get some good clean air in. Practice breathing. 5 slow nasal breaths before meals. Do a physiological sigh. It's the one I like to use before I eat. Do some breathing before bed. You can do all of these things. Pick one. 1 to 5 minutes of slow breathing before bed. Awesome. And then check your home's air filter. And maybe it's time to grab an air filter. That's another one too. It's a good time to start. Pick a habit. Start small. Start building over time. Your next breath matters. You don't have to overhaul your life today, but choosing one thing, right? One better breath, open a window, one cleaning product, 1 minute of stillness, 20,000 breaths. Today becomes over 7 million breaths this year. Pretty crazy to think about that, huh? Small choices repeated consistently create extraordinary changes. Okay, everybody. Hope you guys have a great week. We'll talk next week. Have a good one.